The Big Ten had some good showings. They had a lot of impressive performances at the top, but they also had some slugfests and areas where they certainly struggled. So let's take a look here very briefly and talk about each of these games. So Indiana beat UCLA 56-6. Not that much of a surprise in my mind. It was a bad matchup for UCLA roster wise, scheme wise. The fact they had to kick off 9 a.m. their time, and the fact that Indiana played Michigan State more competitively than Cignetti wanted. So Cignetti had an excuse to get mad, to get his team riled up, and you saw, UCLA early on was riled up, but after that pick six, reality began to settle in. Before I continue, liking the video, watching the video all the way through, and commenting your thoughts down below are the best ways to support the channel, as they help push me into the algorithm, help me to receive a larger paycheck that I can use to reinvest in producing elite analysis for you all. Subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell, sharing the video around, and supporting us in other ways that you can find out via the description are other awesome ways to support our operation at College Football with Sam. We are becoming the best. We want to be the best. Thank you all for making that possible. Indiana didn't even play all that particularly well on offense and still won by 50. It's an impressive win for Cignetti. Nebraska beat Northwestern 28-21. Didn't run the ball all that well outside of Emmett Johnson busting some tackles. O-line was once again, I think, porous at times in run blocking, much better in pass blocking. It was a clutch win defined by special teams and the defense taking away the football from Preston Stone 2 times. Much needed win to get to bowl eligibility because there is a realistic chance Nebraska loses out from here. But first time where Nebraska's had back-to-back bowl seasons since 2013-2014. First time they've had back-to-back 500 or better regular seasons since that time. So Matt Rule's doing things at Nebraska that Mike Riley and Scott Frost could not. The 2027 recruiting class looks good. Much of this team will return for next year. I do think they're going to sneak away at least one more victory in the regular season. If not, maybe two. There's a realistic path for them to sneak away 3 more wins or even to win out. More likely than not, they're probably going to lose more games in their remaining slate than win more. But they've improved from where they were last year, especially in special teams. For Northwestern, they should probably beat one more team remaining on their schedule, though there is a chance they, lose out and go 5-7. Still think David Braun's a solid coach. Rutgers beat Purdue, back and forth game. Purdue got on top early. Rutgers was the better team. They won on the road. Much needed win for Schiano because I don't know if they'll win another game this year, but at least they win a conference game. Purdue is still searching for their first win in Big Ten play since 2023. I don't think they'll earn that this year. Washington crushed Illinois 42-25. Their playoff hopes are alive. Illinois are dead. I think both teams are well coached. Washington is just better coached. They were at home with a travel edge. They have the more talented quarterback, and their personnel fit with their scheme better than Illinois' personnel fit with their scheme. It was always going to be a bad matchup. If Illinois somehow won that game, I would have been very impressed with Bielema, but they did not. So Washington CFB hopes are alive. Illinois are dead. Iowa smoked Minnesota. Not much to talk about there. I did not expect it to get that bad, but I did believe that Iowa matched up with Minnesota pretty well. Good to see that Iowa has some offensive fireworks, that Gronowski, I think, is playing his best ball that he has all year, and Phil Parker has his best defense since 2023 or maybe even 2022. Oregon sloppily played Wisconsin. 21-7 was the final score. I was impressed by Oregon's second half performance on the offensive line and rushing offense. I do think there's a very good chance they have the best rushing offense in America. It's up there, I think, with Notre Dame's. Notre Dame, I like their backs more. I love Oregon's potential on the offensive line more. We'll see, though. You got to get more healthy. You got to get him out of his own head. You have to help him get the ball out quicker. And there are some issues in pass protection with this Oregon O-line. Not critical ones, but they're just not among the nation's best there. Nonetheless, you win, you survive, you advance, you enter the bye. Wisconsin deserves better than Fickle. He ought to be fired if Wisconsin has any testicles. For Michigan State, Michigan, almost said Michigan State, Minnesota, that's next week's game, Sam. Michigan retains control of the Paul Bunyan Trophy for the fourth year in a row. They win 31-20. The defense played well. I know they gave up 20 points, but one of them was a garbage time touchdown. Michigan State had to convert on fourth down. Had to be really stubborn to get many yards against Michigan's defense. Defense played better. The offense had one of its worst games in a while, especially passing. But rushing-wise, Michigan's beginning to gain some strength in power running, and their short intermediate gains are coming at a more consistent rate. So it's an encouraging win for Michigan in terms of they're showing more shades of their team, which means a complete performance from Michigan is looking better than it ever has throughout the year. We'll see if they can put it all together, though. That's going to be a whole different task. For the current Big Ten standings, Indiana and Ohio State are tied for first right now. I know that Indiana technically has an additional win, but let's be real here. They're both undefeated. Ohio State just had their second bye of the year. Indiana doesn't have that until week 13. Both are undefeated. Both look like they're on a collision course in Indianapolis. Oregon, Iowa, Michigan, technically USC are still in that conversation for Indy. They all have odds to reach Indy and win in Indy, but more likely than not, it's going to be an Indiana-Ohio State Big Ten championship game. Indiana's toughest game will have to play Penn State on the road. Ohio State's is playing Michigan on the road, so I'd say Indiana is the most likely out of all these teams to reach Indy. Next is Ohio State. Next is Oregon. Next is Michigan, and then probably next Iowa, USC, the least likely out of that one-loss group to go to Indianapolis and compete for the Big Ten championship game. Every single team with one conference loss is alive for the playoffs, including Washington and Nebraska. They can win out with the schedules they have. It's unlikely, but not impossible. For example, I have an easier time seeing Washington get to the playoffs than Iowa based on schedule. I have an easier time seeing, honestly, Nebraska. I have an easier time seeing getting to the playoffs than USC at this point, for example, just due to scheduling stuff. That's the current Big Ten standings here. It looks like it's going to be a collision course between Indiana and Ohio State for the Big Ten. But if you really believe, for example, that Oregon's going to win out and that one of Ohio State or IU loses, they could win the Big Ten. If you really believe that Michigan and Ohio State's going to be a really competitive game and that Michigan has some advantages there, yes, Michigan can get to Indy. It's going to be a fun November in the Big Ten, albeit there are very few big games. Thanks, James Franklin, for sucking. But it's still one of the better conferences in America. There's going to be several national title contenders coming out of this conference. Right now, your top two teams that are favored to win it all are from the Big Ten. Ohio State and Indiana, and Oregon's close behind those two teams there. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure, if you haven't already, to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment your analysis and thoughts down below so I can reciprocate my thoughts with you in the comment section, and check out anything on these end screens that are up here. Whether it's a recommended video, or playlists for teams that I'm talking about in a preview, prediction, or a reaction, make sure to hit the notification bell on those, scroll through them, and watch any suggested videos if you are interested. Thank you for helping college football with Sam become the best and the biggest college football brand and channel on YouTube and other social media platforms. We will reach that one day because of your support.